from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Your source for the Department of Energy's environmental cleanup news. Energycast starts now.
Hi everyone, I'm Summer Dash. Welcome to your June episode of Energycast. Let's get started with some energy bites.
Areas that may not be being met by other programs.
Train them, teach them, and keep them around. That's the goal of a new partnership. There's work to be done in Oak Ridge for decades to come, and this is one more way our team is supporting students preparing to join the workforce. They're the future of our mission, after all. We're going to explain how it works and the opportunities ahead. Crews are using something you probably have in your kitchen right now to help manage contamination at the East Tennessee Technology Park. The science is simple but effective. The process, a little more complicated, but it's happening. We'll show you how bugs and a common cooking ingredient are being put to use.
It's very hard, but you get to do it.
A town run by kids in East Tennessee, it's called BizTown. These students learn how to manage money and run a company. We followed a handful of students around their day at BizTown. We're going to show you where they decided to spend their hard-earned cash. This is a new opportunity for students to get into the environmental management field. A new nuclear engineering degree is coming to Tennessee Technical University in Cookeville. Department of Energy contractor UCOR is teaming up with the school to help make this happen. We were there as the papers were signed and check presented. About 2 hours west of the Oak Ridge Reservation, 10,000 students walk the campus of Tennessee Tech University.
They want to live in Tennessee once they graduate, even if they're not native Tennesseans. They come to Tennessee, they come to college, and then they love Tennessee and they want to stay in Tennessee. So they're really looking for career opportunities, not just jobs, but lifetime careers that are going to let them stay in the state of Tennessee.
That's music to the ears of employers who know 30% of their workforce will be eligible to retire in the next 10 years.
And I think the opportunity to bring new folks into our industry who are already committed generationally to Tennessee, being Tennesseans, and then being able to be educated, apply that education to the greater mission, the greater livability, the greater economic growth, and to do that by growing through our organization, growing through our approaches, through our industry with us. I think that's the most exciting thing that comes of all of this.
The nuclear engineering degree program could be available as early as the fall of 2024. Between now and then, UCOR and school leaders will work together to come up with the curriculum.
I expect there to be some unique elements to this program too that maybe are a little different than what you would find at other nuclear engineering programs around the country. And that's where input from industry leaders like UCOR can assist us in identifying what those elements should be. Areas that may not be being met by other programs.
UCOR has been part of successful launches before, including the nuclear decommissioning minor at the University of Tennessee. It has streamlined careers in environmental management, which is what tech leaders say they hope to see happen here.
I really want to see that partnership and that presence of UCOR on campus so that our students learn about UCOR. Many of our students, as I said, they intern, they co-op, and so by the time they graduate, they often already have a relationship with a company or wherever they're going to work. So the thing I'm looking forward to is a UCOR presence on campus so that our students become familiar with the company and then they more naturally migrate toward that company when they graduate.
And they'll have plenty of options. Competition for great employees in the engineering field is fierce, often with more spots available than graduates to fill them.
You can count on a bilateral relationship. Your voice is as important as our voice. You can count on having a seat at the table.
On this sunny day in Cookeville, that partnership is forged.
You know, this is the kind of thing that it's sort of a no-brainer. Everybody benefits from this, and that's the way partnerships should work.
Encouraging students to take the short drive east and walk right into a job. So this means we could be welcoming graduates of this program within the next 5 years. A woman-owned Knoxville business has scored a nearly $200 million contract with the Department of Energy. The Management Solutions team will be focusing on helping support DOE's clean energy mission. That 5-year contract will create dozens of new positions. It's part of a public-private partnership. We stopped by the office to talk with CEO Misty Mays.
This is really a transformational project, one, because of the size, but two, just the whole mission behind, clean energy. I think that's something, regardless of what political party you're in. I think of myself, I know my kids, I want clean energy and a clean environment for them, clean environment for my grandkids.
Management Solutions is headquartered in Knoxville. Employees will help achieve the United States climate goal of net zero emissions by 2050. The votes are in, and we've got a winner. Well, we've got 6 winners to be exact. United Cleanup Oak Ridge hosted its annual awards program on June 6th. That event spotlights the top performers that help support UCOR's cleanup efforts all across the Oak Ridge Reservation. Their companies may be small in size, but they play a big role. Cameron Jacobs spoke with some of the recipients during the recent ceremony.
Small Business of the Year, JSH Web Designs. Small Disadvantaged Business of the Year, Scientific Sales. HubZone Small Business of the Year, Premier Contracting and Technical Services. Women-Owned Small Business of the Year, Turnkey Technical Services. Veteran-Owned Small Business of the Year, Advantage Electronics. Service Disabled, Veteran-Owned Small Business of the Year, Southeast Equipment Sales. Turnkey Technical Solutions, who support waste management operations, is a repeat winner.
For Turnkey to win an award like that in an area where we're aware of all of the other wonderful businesses that employ hard-working, dedicated people, we feel it is an extreme honor to win something like this. It's a huge, huge honor for us.
I'm Cameron Jacobs with Energycast.
More progress is happening at one of EM's most important projects at the Y-12 National Security Complex. Crews are advancing construction on the mercury treatment facility. That pivotal piece of infrastructure opens the door for large-scale cleanup planned at the site. The mercury treatment facility project includes constructing 2 buildings connected by more than half a mile of piping. Now, what you're seeing on your screen is ongoing work on the treatment plant and the headworks facility. So workers are installing the steel frame on the first building. They're also finishing the foundation and completing mass concrete placements needed for the second building. When complete, the facility will be able to treat 3,000 gallons of water a minute. Think about that. And it'll have 2 million gallon storage capacity. Workers are continuing a major excavation project at the East Tennessee Technology Park. That project is removing a large area of contaminated soil located where the former K-25 building once stood. Now, we've mentioned that undertaking in recent episodes. During the dig, employees have pulled up more than 300 truckloads of highly contaminated soil. That material is usually placed in special boxes called B25 containers and then trucked across the country for disposal. That amount of soil equates to 1,000 containers. However, those containers are really difficult to come by because of the current supply chain issues. Cleanup contractor UCOR worked on a solution that used rail cars instead to ship that waste. That decision sped up the schedule by about 6 months, keeps this project moving forward. Rail shipments began in March. Last load is expected to leave this summer. EM is planning the next and final stage of cleanup at ETTP. Demolition is finished and soil excavation is set to be complete next year. Now the focus is on groundwater. And get this, teams at the main plant are using an item you likely have in your kitchen to manage contamination.
The problem here at the main plant area is that over the years during the production here at ETTP, they used a lot of what we call chlorinated solvents as cleaners in the gaseous diffusion process. Some of those solvents either leaked into the groundwater or got spilled. There were often pits that were used to clean equipment, and the solvents were in the pits and would leak out or leak out through lines. Bioremediation was first discovered in the 1990s, and since then it has become by far the most used remediation technology to clean up these chlorinated solvents in the groundwater. And what that involves is taking advantage of the fact that there are some native microbes, naturally occurring microbes in the groundwater that will eat these solvents.
What that involves is injecting a carbon source, which sounds very sort of technical, but it's really just corn oil. We'll inject that down into wells, and then that will feed microbes that are already currently in the soil, although we may enhance that by injecting some additional ones with that. The corn oil then feeds those, they reproduce, and these little bacteria, what they do is they eat the TCE, which is the contaminant of concern in these plume areas that we're looking at. What we're looking at right now is probably doing 2 injections, doing an initial one and seeing how that works, and then doing a follow-up injection. There may be an opportunity to do a 3rd or a 4th. You know, these are all questions these are the kind of questions that have to be worked out as we work through the remedial design phase of the project.
Over at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, crews are continuing efforts to eliminate old reactors in the heart of the site. We provided coverage last year when they finished demolition of the bulk shielding reactor. Now, that project created space workers needed to tear down the low-intensity test reactor right next door there. That effort is underway right now. It sets the stage for an even bigger cleanup project ahead. We caught up with UCOR cleanup manager Dan Macias, who discussed where they are in the process and what's next.
Right now, we're in the middle of demolishing the low-intensity test reactor facility 3005. We made great progress. There's a couple of different phases we're working through. We're through the first phase. We're in the second phase where we got to remove the shield block. And then after the shield block gets removed, then we're actually going to physically rig and remove the reactor and package it for disposition. Then we'll follow with a 3042 facility, the old Oak Ridge Research Reactor facility. A little bit more complex. Similar to the 3010 facility, it contained a reactor pool that had irradiated material, irradiated components. We hired a subcontractor, Energy Solutions, to help us remove those irradiated components from the reactor pool. Once that is complete, we'll continue with the deactivation portion of the 3042 facility before we can demolish it as well.
Great kids, they're very creative. It's a little bit chaotic, but it's a lot of fun.
Coming up on Energycast, you're going to be wowed by these elementary school students. They can balance a budget, manage finances likely better than most of us. Energycast is heading to BizTown. And we are taking you inside a training exercise. It spanned multiple counties in East Tennessee and prepares employees who work on the Oak Ridge Reservation for disaster. Of course, we hope these skills never have to come in handy, but if they do, our team is ready to keep the community safe. We'll show you how. Welcome back. The work we do can be dangerous. It's why our teams take safety so seriously. We recently held an emergency training exercise. For this next story, Sierra Hellemans is taking us inside the Department of Energy's Joint Operations Center.
Employees from Oak Ridge National Lab, the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, UCOR, and the City of Oak Ridge came together in June to simulate how to respond if an emergency occurs on the Oak Ridge Reservation. Exercises like this ensure officials are prepared if the unlikely ever happens.
So we do these to exercise our emergency response organization and the functions and make sure that our members in the cadre, in our ERO cadre, are quite familiar with their positions and their roles and functions if we were to actually have an actual emergency.
These scenarios involve practice for many different tasks. For communications staff, that involves practice getting updates out quickly and hosting press conferences with mock media. That's exactly what participants from multiple organizations gathered to do at DOE's Joint Information Center. The facility is located miles away, and it's where officials would talk and share information with reporters during a real emergency. During the exercise, staff worked through obtaining info from the field, fact-checking data, and answering questions in a live setting.
Getting public information out quickly is incredibly important, and anytime we can exercise that just makes us that more capable for a real event.
Employees at DOE sites are working hard to make sure these drills remain nothing more than practice. But if the unlikely happens, they'll know what to do.
We want you to know what to do too. DOE released an updated booklet that shares what to do if an emergency happens at one of its sites. Oak Ridge is safer and emergency zones are smaller thanks to cleanup that's underway right now. A link to that booklet is available for you right there on your screen. Head on over to take a look for yourself. 3 bridges in Oak Ridge are now cleared after another biannual inspection. They are over highways 58 and 95. The haul road bridges are used to move truckloads of waste, materials, and big machinery without impacting public traffic. Since they were built, they've kept more than 200,000 truckloads off public highways.
Engineers will actually climb all around the bridge and look at them up close and personal, inspecting all the joints, the structural members, look for any defects, anything we need to work on maintenance-wise.
The workers crawling all over those bridges to make sure they're safe, they're used to this. Many have inspected these very bridges in the past. They'll consider their notes from the previous inspections as they do their work. Now, after checking them out, they compile their data and make sure they are safe for heavy loads to cross. We are just coming off of Mental Health Awareness Month. DOE contractor UCOR is taking steps to support employees with a new program called Navigate. It's to help normalize the conversation surrounding mental health. Cameron Jacobs shows us this new resource.
In the nuclear industry, safety is essential to perform the job well. Input from employees is helping cleanup contractor UCOR expand how it evaluates and measures employee safety and wellness.
The evolution of it, we've been talking about mental health for really quite a while, I'd say, but over, during the COVID times, we heard loud and clear, really on a national level and certainly from our workforce, that mental health matters.
Now, a new mental health program is taking shape at the company. Organizers of the new program are making sure it is equipping employees with the support and understanding they need to be successful. To establish a robust program, they are listening to employees, attending conferences across the country, and learning what other companies are offering related to mental wellness.
We gathered the troops together. We talked to our employees. We worked with health services, within safety systems and services. We benchmarked other organizations.
All of this for one goal.
Our goal is to empower our employees with the knowledge to help fight the stigma of mental health, as well as to notice whenever their coworkers or family members, they are experiencing mental health crisis or challenges.
Workforce members can expect new activities and opportunities to get involved, even become trained to help by giving a listening ear or even offer different options to those around them.
We supply our workers with everything they need to be safe, like gloves, mask, respirators, vest. Well, we also need to take care of the mental aspect as well, because it can be a lot for a worker every day, day in, day out. And we don't know what they're experiencing at home as well. So people struggle, and you don't have to struggle alone. So that's what we want them to take home with them, is that, we care about our employees.
Here are the 5 big stories happening across the complex right now. We are bringing you major EM news from coast to coast. Starting with a look ahead, EM headquarters has released its vision for the next decade. The newly released document shares major cleanup that's scheduled through 2033. It provides readers information for all 15 EM sites across the country. Over at the Hanford, Washington site, 3D laser scanning technology is making work safer for employees. The laser provides facility layouts on old buildings. It gives workers precise insight ahead of demolition. DOE is investing $46 million in the research and development of commercial fusion energy. The goal is to harness the power of the sun right here on Earth. This offers safe and non-carbon emitting energy. And on a similar note, DOE is also using $34 million to deploy clean energy technologies in American Indian and Alaska Native communities. The goal here is to improve quality of life and provide long-term benefits. And environmental management and biology students from Claflin University got to tour the Savannah River site in South Carolina. The goal was to give students an opportunity to learn more about the work happening there and see examples of how they could directly apply their future degrees. That's your news from across the complex. Local leaders are back from a trip to Vienna to visit the headquarters of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Our Deputy Manager Laura Wilkerson and Roane County Mayor Wade Cresswell headed to Austria to attend the International Conference on Nuclear Decommissioning. Participants shared achievements, challenges, and lessons learned from all around the globe related to environmental cleanup. Wilkerson and Wade shared about the cleanup of the former uranium enrichment complex in Oak Ridge. In August, Wilkerson will be heading to London to continue international discussions. We will have full coverage of her work abroad right here on Energycast. This UCOR employee has held a lot of important titles in his career so far, but he's adding another, this time at the state level. Find out how he hopes to make life better for Tennesseans with disabilities.
Yeah, we're gonna go hang up an advertisement at Sweet Bee's Boutique if we have permission from them.
And it's time to head into town, BizTown. Students have taken over and our employees, well, they're just working for them. See how it all plays out when 10-year-olds run the place. CEO, 5th grade advertising exec, and preteen banker. Junior Achievement of East Tennessee held the highly anticipated BizTown event in Clinton. Students spend the day putting their skills to the test, running their own town. Our employees were on hand to work for them, and we followed along, had to keep up as they executed their busy schedules.
We're gonna go hang up an advertisement at Sweet Bee's Boutique.
We're here to advertise about our business. My name is Lyra Jones, and we're here to talk about our business.
Can we hang this up? That works.
It is awesome. We have a lot of great kids. They're very creative. It's a little bit chaotic, but it's a lot of fun.
Take time to balance your checkbook.
What about our loans? Find a building that we already haven't advertised. And make sure you ask for permission this time.
I did.
No, you did it the first time you did it.
To go and advertise in other companies. We're here to talk about our business, and we are trying to get people to learn about more about it.
Go to the different businesses and like spend money and buy little pet animals or buy candy.
I'm going shopping.
How much money are we making?
Can I go see a movie and have some popcorn?
Yeah. You're just gonna go right behind me when you get that butt.
Okay. Yeah.
What are you gonna get?
Skittles.
And it's just working with the kids and helping them understand what they need to do.
Yep.
It's been great.
Great thing, glad for all the people that have donated and kept this thing going.
All of this was being held on by like a hair strand of plastic and hope.
Never a dull moment.
Today was actually really fun. BizTown teaches a bunch of kids about economics and how to use leadership. And honestly, I think it was really fun, and I liked it. I learned how to balance money and how to use it responsibly. How much is the phone? Harder than I thought.
Local Local students have more hands-on learning opportunities thanks to STEM grants UCOR awarded to schools in the region. They're providing $40,000 in grants this school year. That total is funding 36 projects in 29 schools across 9 counties. The focus of these grants is to support education and heighten awareness about the STEM field. As you can see, these projects are helping students start STEM early, and they look quite adorable doing it. In this month's Spotlight, we are thrilled to introduce you to Darius Upton. He works for UCOR, but it's another job that we are focusing on for this story. His work in and outside of the office is changing lives. A simple choice. He held a similar position in Knox County, but now Darius Upton is taking his expertise to the state level.
It's a privilege. It's an honor.
Senator Becky Massey had originally submitted his name for a different team. Then he got a call from someone at the governor's office.
He said, I'm looking at your body of work. Would you be interested in serving on the State Human Rights Commission? And I, thought about it, and I thought, well, if you think it's a better place for me to serve, sure, why not?
A month later, this congratulatory letter arrived. Upton's work as Diversity Programs Manager at UCOR complements the new position.
And I think that's something that sometimes people don't really think about when they think about this discrimination and what that really looks like. I think oftentimes we get into this space where we think, it's just about black people or the Latino population or something like that. But when you're talking about folks that have disabilities, when you're talking about age discrimination, when you're talking about that, those things transcend race and culture.
He says they're seeing a lot of disability-related cases. The commission can take issues to court or find other solutions.
In a different way, like say you're a business owner and there's a case of discrimination, how do we talk with you to really address that and come to some sort of solution without going to court? But they also do trainings in various regions of the state. In fact, across the whole state, they can do trainings to help people understand what the laws really are and how best they can apply them in their situations, so that hopefully there is no legal action or anything like that in the future.
And it's not just his work experience that prepared him for this. He served in the Navy, and it did a number on his body.
And the fact that I do have a disability rating there, so understanding some of those struggles on a personal level. So I would guess that all had something to do with it.
His goal may sound simple.
Did we do something good? Did we help folks live a little bit better?
But for those whose lives he touches, it is anything but. Well, we hope you like slimy stuff. Next month, we'll be talking to people with an organization that's getting kids into nature to learn about all sorts of animals living in local creeks, rivers, and wetlands. We're also welcoming in lots of interns from all across the country. Our team will catch up with them to hear their stories. And finally, we have exciting new visuals that share how our projects will transform the Oak Ridge National Lab in a big way in the coming years. Thank you for joining us for Energycast. New episodes come out on the third Sunday of the month, and you can always watch on air and online. We post Energycast episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages the day after they air. Head on over to follow us on our social media accounts. We are always happy to answer questions and share information with you there as well. Hey, remember, if you work in environmental management in Oak Ridge, keep us in mind if you come across a story. We're always looking for news tips and story ideas from all across the reservation. We'd love to hear them. Email your idea to oakridgeem@orem.doe.gov. Let us know there. You might just see it right here. See you next time.